I'm Chris Manguel with Juice 34 on Juice Cable and Internet, and today we are highlighting the Greenville Art League, and we're here at the Greenville Public Library, and we're going to be checking out some local artists and their painting that they have going on. So let's go check it out here on Juice 34.
My name's Alan Weekly. I'm president of the Greenville Art League, and I'm a photographer. And this is one of my favorite pieces of artwork here. My wife and I lived in western New York State for a couple of years, and we used to go out and explore Amish farms, antique shops, and just go to different towns. And we were looking for a particular town, and it came around that I took a wrong turn into town, came around the turn, and there was these 3 deer standing in the snow on this little slope. So I stopped the car, my wife rolled the window down, leaned the seat back, I grabbed my telephoto lens, and I got this picture. So in New York, it's usually very dim in the winter, and usually the deer are very far away, but they were a little bit closer this time, and the light was unusually bright, and I just managed to catch them at just the right time. And I really like all 3 of these deer looking at the camera here. So that's my artwork. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Duncan Porter, and this is my favorite painting, or at least currently, I think it is. This is a loose watercolor rendition of a photograph that my mother took of myself and my cousin in 1940. She used to take us to my grandparents in Arkansas, and we'd spend the summers up there on the farm. And this was the old spring house, was a major source of water. And we go down there and get a wash tub, and we get a bath about once a week. And I think my cousin Bill is pouring water. I might have had cold water over me. And it's been a favorite photograph for mine for a long time. And about 2 years ago, I decided to paint it. And the execution, it's not so hot on it, but I like to look at it because it's simple times in the 1940s. And I like that carefree look, and it reminds me, and it's kind of become one of my favorites. I need to frame it, but I'll get around to doing that one of these days. And anyhow, that's what I have for today. I'm in the tub, and my cousin, I'm 7 years old, and my cousin is 7 too. He's about 2 weeks younger than I am, and you can see he's snaggled too. So we were losing our teeth about that time, or I think I'd already gotten mine.
See about pouring water on your head there?
Right. It's not very clear in this picture. He's pouring water, but we'd go down there and they'd get a bucket of water out of we'd fill this wash tub up, and I don't know. We'd play in it to get a bath once a week if we needed it or not. Most of the time we needed it, but. I enjoyed painting it, and yeah, it's a loose watercolor, it's real loose, and it's not intended to be a tight. And I kind of like doing it that way. That's my favorite way of painting.
Your background is really nice.
Beg pardon?
Your background is really nice.
Yeah, thanks. I left that loose. I wanted that, I didn't want to get too detailed on that. And I'm not very good at faces, so watercolors is even more difficult than if you're doing it. So I didn't worry too much about it. But it looks like me, and it looks like my cousin a little bit. So I feel pretty good about it. It reminds me of those easy times, and we didn't have anything to worry about.
I'm Lael Nelson, and this is Jack. And it's an opaque watercolor.
Hi, Jeff Karsh here. This is one of my favorite paintings. I don't think it's my favorite, but everybody seems to like this one. This is a portrait of my dog. Her name was Melbourne, and oddly enough, we took a first place at the art show in 17 with this painting, and that was the day she died. So it was like really intense. Yeah, and this style is something I've been working on for a long time. I like the realistic images, but I like breaking up all the parts into abstract shapes. You know about that? Yeah, I dig that too. And that's really what I'm trying to do here, is take abstraction and pull it together as a semi, at least, realistic image. I also like going in really close, that kind of zoom in thing. And I liked working with the blacks and whites because I think the values that you can create in the grays is very intense, and you get so many. And I tried to use quite a few in this one. It's acrylic, and it was painted in 16 before she died, but I wanted to get a picture of her. I knew she was gone. And then I got a commission from this for a cat, and but I sold the cat, but it came out very similar style. I used the same style in the cat one.
My name is Marcy Penland, and the name of my painting is A Peaceful Sunset. It's acrylic. My story behind this is not nearly as compelling as the other stories have been. I painted this just from a photo. I don't know where it was. I tried to use warm colors because I think warm colors really draw you into the setting. I had two big challenges in this picture. I wanted the water to look like they were just gently rolling waves, so I used circular motions with my brush and also even a mop brush to make the water look like it was just foaming. And then I wanted the sunset to look white hot. So, of course, I started out with yellow, and then I went over it with lots of white, downward strokes. And I usually don't put a gold frame on my pictures, but I did on this one because I thought that contributed to the warmth of the picture. I wanted the viewer just to feel like they were a part of this, a part of the scene, and enjoy the nature. I wanted the sand to look heavy and dense, so that's a combination of purple and raw umber. And a friend of mine said that when she goes to the beach, she wants her soul to be calm, and that's kind of the mood I tried to create here. So,
Marcy,
yes.
You have a real iridescent quality to
Well, thank
the
you.
light. It's very impressive.
Thank you. I repeated the same colors throughout the painting, so thank you.
This piece won a prize.
It did. It won a prize. I was real proud of that. Thank you.
I can almost hear those birds.
Thank you. So, yeah, I
By the reflection on the water.
thank you. I wanted it to be totally natural, and then I went ahead and put in the lighthouse, but I thought it was subtle enough to where it didn't take away from the feeling of nature. So, anyway.
Yeah, I think that's real right.
Thank you. I think it kind of makes your eye travel in a more circular motion. Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you. So, I love landscapes. So, the seascapes. Anyway. Well, thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Gibson, and I've done several demonstrations for this art club, and I do a lot of different things. This is a portrait of a Kiowa Indian from Grand Prairie, and I took a photograph of him in 1980 and decided to paint him, recently. So it is an oil painting, yes. I'm also a caricature artist. I work in digital, and I'm a fashion illustrator. I do murals, and let's see, what else do I do? Anyway, I guess that's good for him. And I also do plein air, and I belong to groups of artists that go out, especially in the hill country, and do on-the-spot landscapes. They take about anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And plain, it means you do it on the spot. You do it with, set your palette, you go out and with a group of artists, then there are competitions in Texas and around the country for plein air, and it's pretty interesting. Thank you.
I'm Connie Stockelman, been part of Greenville Art League for many a year. It's been a very good year this year, and this is an exceptional time to be able to talk about our pictures, which was a difficult thing to do. What I chose this one for is because it's been the most practical. I've been using it for a call card, I've used it for return email on Facebook and on my letters. And I realized as I was choosing it that one of my favorite words this year was the word splash. And so then I could put the paint on, accept it, and it would make a statement. And she came out, and the hope in it, it's been a very active painting. It's not the one that hung on my wall, but she's getting applause today, and I can picture her on many different walls other than on mine. And so that's why she said, choose me today. And so here she is. Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Peck. This is my favorite painting, perhaps. I've done a lot of paintings. I do portraits, I do murals, I do, just whatever. Oil, acrylic, just if it's old school, if it's digital, I don't do it. If it's computer stuff like that, I don't do that. But anyway, this is called The Return of the King, and if you read in Revelation chapter 19, I believe beginning at verse 12, it says, "Behold the rider on the white horse. His name is Faithful and True. It says his eyes are a flame of fire. On his head are many crowns. His garments are splattered with blood." It's not his blood. And behind him are the heavenly host also on white horses. And so I tried to illustrate that. And of course it looks like a stained glass window, but simultaneously it looks like he's breaking through the window. And you see, if you look closely, you'll see all these human heads that are flying away from the center, and you see all these different religious symbolism. There's an Ankh, the Egyptian sign of eternal life. There's a Star of David here. There's a crescent moon with a star. There's a lotus blossom, which has to do with Hinduism. Many other things, and they're all exploding away from the center. And when that which is complete has come, then that which is peripheral will be done away with. You see the Alpha and the Omega with the cross in the middle. It's funny because whether you are secular or Christian, or you're Hindu or Buddhist or whatever, we all divide time by the same thing, the life and death of this one guy. You can call it AD and BC, or you can call it call it BCE, before the Common Era, and CE, the Common Era, but it's still the same time period. It's funny, but that's my favorite painting. It's oil on a wood panel.
Hello, my name is Angela Mattingly, and the title of my painting is The Flame. This is one of a series that I'm doing. I'm doing a series on chrismons. This is number 2 in the series, and it was painted in 2016. If you're not familiar with chrismons, they're religious symbols that are, you normally find them in the holiday season at Christmas, as decorations on a Christmas tree in a church or sanctuary. Typically, they're done in white and gold colors. So what I've done is I have chose some of the symbols, and I use one in a painting every year. And the symbol here is flame, and that represents God's Word. Around the flame, I have written several of my favorite verses from the Bible, from the Old and New Testament. I believe there's 6 verses there. The one closest to the flame is my favorite. It's Psalms 119, verse 105. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Some of the paintings, the symbol is just off to the side somewhere, and then in other paintings like this one, it is the main subject of the painting. No, this is acrylic.
It does look like
Well, thank you. Oh, and then my paintings, like I said, the Chrismons are typically white and gold. Mine are very bright and vivid colors. And they're more of a modern day, everyday kind of subject matter.
My name is Ken Stroud, and this is an example of some of the work that I'm currently doing. These are themed portraits. They start out as a photograph, and then all of the effects and the background and everything is done on the computer in Photoshop. These are best when they're printed really large, probably a 30 by 40 hung on the wall. If you have one of these in your house that is of you, or maybe a son or a daughter or a grandson that's interested in something, maybe they're interested in pirates or Vikings or being a captain or something. Maybe they're into a TV series, Harry Potter or something. Anyway, they dress up, take a photo, do the rest of the work in the computer, print it out real big. It's a great conversation starter in your home, and it's something that can potentially become an heirloom. There won't be, everybody takes pictures these days, and they're on their phones and their computers, but there'll never be an heirloom file on your computer. There'll be an heirloom that hangs on your wall. So these are made to be printed big and hung on the wall. So I send them off to a printer that does them. So yeah.
The finish is really nice, but it's that varnish or something.
This is just a cheap print. The ones that I print for the wall and frame them are framed and mounted, and I send them off to get that done. So, thank you.
So you say they're painted that small and you blow them up?
No. So when I do it on the computer, I make them big enough to print 30 by 40 or even larger, and then I shrink them down when I just want to carry them around and show them off. Yeah, so there's a lot of detail in there, and they're kind of dark, and they're meant to be that way. When you shine a good light on them, if you've got a spot in your house that gets a lot of light, there's a lot of detail in there. So
there you have it. You've seen some local paintings and some local artists here in Greenville, Texas, as part of the Greenville Art League. Until next time on Juice 34, I'm your host, Christopher Manguel.
This video has been brought to you by Juice 34. Juice is your community-owned provider of electric, internet, cable TV, and true local programming.
You know the feeling, and so do we. That's why Juice takes steps not only to get the lights back on quickly, but to keep them on. We keep the trees trimmed back to avoid outages, long before the storm comes along. We replace poles before they let us down. We upgrade our system to ensure reliability. And all the steps we're taking have led to a nationally recognized award from the American Public Power Association. Juice Electricity. Hometown service, world-class reliability.